Caution. Reality. Stability alert. Level, let's go with 7 today. Lucky number 7, right? What could go wrong? Warning. This episode may cause spontaneous questioning of reality, an increased fascination with the number 42, and a sudden urge to check your mirrors for suspicious activity. Side effects may also include mild paranoia, existential confusion, and the unsettling feeling that you're being watched by space weasels. Your past self has already listened to this episode and recommends that you keep a close eye on your socks, especially the left ones. Your future self is unavailable for comment, as they are currently busy dealing with a temporal paradox involving a Zizglorg, a black hole, and a rubber ducky. Current probability of stable reality, questionable at best. Proceed with caution, and try not to think too hard about the nature of existence.
Across the stars, through your speakers, and directly into your possibly not entirely stable reality. You're tuned into Intergalactic Insider, the only show brave enough to tackle the universe's toughest questions like, what's the meaning of life? Why are we here? And why do my socks keep disappearing? Only to reappear inside my coffee mug, which by the way is now sentient and keeps giving me relationship advice. I'm your host, Felix Andromeda, and if you're hearing this, congratulations. You've survived the reality stability alert for now. Because it's a special occasion, folks, for those of you still celebrating holidays on good old Earth Classic, or as we like to call it around here, Old Earth. We're bringing you a deluxe, extra-long episode packed with even more cosmic weirdness than usual. So, buckle up, grab your favorite beverage, make sure your socks are secure, and prepare for a journey to the outer limits of reality, and possibly beyond. Quick dimension check, folks. On the count of 3, everyone say your name and your favorite color, just to make sure we're all still on the same wavelength. 1, 2, 3.
My analysis indicates a 68.5% probability that at least one listener is currently experiencing a color shift. Also, I'm detecting a significant increase in space weasel activity. Fascinating.
Okay, that's enough reality checking for now. Let's move on to the news, shall we? Before things get any weirder. In a development that has astronomers across the galaxy scratching their heads and other appendages, several star clusters have vanished without a trace. That's right, folks. Entire clusters of stars gone. Poof. No explosions, no debris, no nothing. Just gone. As if someone or something just decided to tidy up the universe a bit. The Galactic Federation has, of course, issued a statement assuring the public that there's nothing to worry about, and that they're looking into the matter. But rumors are swirling that this might be the work of something far more sinister than just cosmic housekeeping. Some are whispering about a Great Devourer, a being of immense power that consumes stars for, well, we don't know what for, really. Maybe it just likes the taste.
Stars are the seeds.
And that, folks, brings us to tonight's top story. What's eating the stars? Is it a natural phenomenon, a cosmic glitch, or something far more unsettling? We'll be diving deep into this mystery with our first guest, renowned astrophysicist Dr. Stellaris Quasar, who, despite her expertise in the field, still hasn't figured out why her socks keep ending up in her coffee mug either. It's a universal problem, folks. But first, let's take a moment to ponder the vastness and strangeness of the universe with our regular segment, the Cosmic Conundrum. Last time, we asked you to imagine a quantum dating app that matched you with a future version of yourself from a timeline where you never used the app. A real head-scratcher, that one. And you all delivered some truly mind-bending theories. Professor Cosmos even suggested that the answer involved, and I quote, a sentient asteroid, a time-traveling Zglorg, and a whole lot of cosmic duct tape.
It was timeline 523C, to be precise. A fascinating case study in the perils of cross-dimensional dating.
Right, of course, Professor. Always insightful. Anyway, it seems the majority of you believe that the safest course of action in such a scenario is to simply delete the app and pretend it never happened. Probably a wise choice, all things considered.
My analysis indicates a 99.9% probability that deleting the app would result in a localized temporal anomaly, possibly causing all your socks to turn inside out. Also, I'm detecting a significant increase in the number of dating profiles being created by sentient kitchen appliances. Please advise.
Just add it to the list. AI. We have bigger things to worry about right now. Like, for example, this fortnight's brand new cosmic conundrum. All right, folks, brace yourselves for this one. You discover a device that allows you to access and observe an infinite number of parallel universes. You can see all the different versions of yourself, living out their lives based on every choice you've ever made, big or small. But here's the catch. You can only watch. You can't interact or interfere in any way. Would you use this device, knowing that you might witness versions of yourself who are far more successful, happier, or even living out your wildest dreams? Or would you destroy it, fearing that the knowledge of what could have been would be too much to bear? And if you do choose to watch, how long is too long before the observation starts affecting your own reality? Let us know your thoughts via neural link, quantum entanglement, or, the usual social media channels. Use the hashtag Intergalactic Conundrum, and remember, no trying to contact your alternate selves to ask for stock tips. We're watching you. And on that note, it's time to delve deeper into the mystery of the vanishing star clusters. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Captain, this is Science Officer Xylar. We've lost another one. Cluster Gamma 7 just vanished. No energy signature, no debris, nothing. It's like it was erased from existence. This is beyond anything I've ever seen. Requesting immediate...
Hold onto your gravity boots, folks, because something is eating the stars. Welcome to Mysteries at the End of Time. I'm your host, Felix Andromeda, and tonight we're diving headfirst into a cosmic conundrum that's got the entire Galactic Federation scratching their heads, and possibly other appendages, vanishing star clusters. With us tonight to unravel this stellar whodunit is the esteemed Dr. Stellaris Quasar, author of Space-Time for Dummies, and, if her research papers are to be believed, a leading expert in the highly speculative field of quantum gastronomy. Doctor, welcome.
It's a pleasure, Felix, though I assure you, my work on how sandwiches behave in zero gravity is far more rigorous than the popular press makes it out to be.
I'll take your word for it. Now, about these disappearing star clusters, we're not just talking about a few stars going supernova and calling it a day, are we? This is like an entire cosmic buffet getting wiped clean.
Precisely, Felix. The scale and speed of these disappearances are unprecedented. While stellar evolution and black hole activity are natural processes, they don't fully account for what we're observing. Entire clusters gone in the blink of an eye. It's as if something is plucking them out of the universe.
Plucking, like grapes from a vine? That's a rather unsettling image, Doctor. So, what are the leading theories? Rogue, supermassive black holes with an insatiable appetite?
That's certainly one possibility. These rogue black holes, if they exist, would be far larger than any we've encountered, capable of swallowing entire star systems whole. But there are other, even more intriguing hypotheses.
Do tell. My listeners love a good cosmic mystery.
Another theory involves localized fluctuations in dark energy. Imagine space-time as a vast cosmic ocean. We believe these disappearances might be occurring in regions where the ocean is experiencing, let's call them rogue waves of dark energy, disrupting the gravitational balance and causing star clusters to dissipate.
So, the universe's own expansion is turning on itself? Like a snake eating its own tail?
An interesting analogy, Felix. But yes, in essence, these space-time tremors, as some are calling them, could be destabilizing the very fabric of reality in these areas.
Professor Cosmos, is that you tap dancing with a temporal anomaly again?
Actually, in timeline Sigma 12, this rhythmic clicking is the mating call of the...
Fascinating, Professor. Perhaps we can discuss interdimensional mating rituals later. Dr. Quasar, you mentioned the fabric of reality. Are we talking about potential tears in space-time? Holes in the universe, so to speak?
Precisely, and that's where things get particularly concerning. If these events are indeed linked to space-time instability, it could lead to unpredictable and potentially catastrophic consequences. Navigation routes could become unreliable, wormholes could collapse, and... Excuse me, is that Morse code?
I believe it is, and it appears to be spelling out, "The Great Devourer hungers."
The Great Devourer? That's not a term used in any scientific literature I'm aware of.
Well, Doctor, our technical difficulties seem to be getting a bit more communicative, and frankly, a bit ominous. Also, our intern just passed a note saying that the signal structure resembles an ancient, unidentified language. Any thoughts, Doctor?
This is highly unusual, Felix. I've never encountered anything like this. An unknown language, Morse code, and space-time instability all converging. It's as if something is trying to send us a message.
A message or a warning? Also, I am now told that the Galactic Federation has issued a statement on the vanishing star clusters, but they are refusing to comment.
Not surprising, Felix. The Federation has a history of, shall we say, selective transparency when it comes to matters of cosmic significance.
Stars are the seeds. What in the Andromeda galaxy does that mean?
It means the harbingers of the Matra are coming. Beware the space weasels and their insatiable hunger. They are always watching.
The space weasels. Professor, have you been experimenting with expired space rations again?
Felix, I'm detecting a surge in tachyon particles. The energy readings are off the charts. Something big is happening.
Big like a rogue black hole, or big like a Great Devourer? And what do seeds have to do with anything? Also, where are these space weasels that Professor Cosmos keeps mentioning?
I don't know, Felix, but I have a very bad feeling about this. This isn't just a scientific anomaly anymore. It's something else entirely.
Doctor, I think we're about to find out what happens when you poke the fabric of reality with a stick. Or in this case, a Morse code transmitting star-eating something. Well, folks, that was unexpected. I think we can all agree that was not in the script. And I'm fairly certain we just broke some kind of interdimensional broadcasting regulation. Dr. Quasar, any thoughts on what just happened? Did we just make first contact with a civilization that communicates exclusively through cryptic Morse code and has a penchant for consuming star clusters? And is the Great Devourer a title, a species, or just a really enthusiastic cosmic foodie? Also, should we be worried about the space weasels?
I honestly don't know, Felix. This is beyond anything I've ever encountered. The energy readings, the unidentified language, the sheer scale of the phenomenon. It's as if we've stumbled onto something far older, far more powerful than we can comprehend. Also, I have no idea what space weasels are, but it sounds terrifying.
And the Galactic Federation's silence on the matter isn't exactly reassuring, is it? It's like they know something they're not telling us. Something about seeds and a devourer.
It's deeply concerning, Felix. This could be a threat on a scale we've never faced before. A cosmic-level event.
And is that homing back? And is it just me, or is the studio getting colder?
I hear it too, Felix, and the temperature is definitely dropping. I'm also detecting trace amounts of... Is that ozone?
Ozone? Like the Earth Classic layer. What's that doing here? Oh, by the rings of... You know what? Never mind. Here we go again.
The energy signature is spiking again, Felix. It's even stronger than before.
And our mysterious Morse code friend is back. Now it's saying, prepare for assimilation.
Assimilation? That doesn't sound good.
No, Doctor, it most certainly does not, unless they're assimilating us into some kind of intergalactic book club. But I somehow doubt it. Well, folks, it seems our time is up, in more ways than one. This is Felix Andromeda, urging you to keep watching the skies, keep questioning the universe, and maybe invest in a good pair of running shoes. You never know when you might need to outrun a space-time anomaly, or a Great Devourer, or a space weasel.
And from me, Dr. Stellaris Quasar, a reminder to always back up your data, and perhaps to start learning Morse code. It might just save your life. And if anyone figures out what stars are the seeds means, please let me know.
Are we still on? Well, folks, if you're just joining us, you might want to grab a towel and maybe a spare pair of gravity boots, and possibly a qualified dimensional therapist. Things got a little weird at the end of our last segment, even for us, but as we always say here at Intergalactic Insider, if you're not questioning reality, you're not paying attention. I'm your host, Felix Andromeda, and tonight we're tackling a topic that's near and dear to every Earthling's heart, or at least their reflection, mirrors. Yes, mirrors. Those shiny, reflective surfaces that have been a part of human culture since someone first saw their face in a puddle and thought, hey, not bad, I should invent selfies.
Look behind you.
But did you know that your bathroom mirror, that dusty antique in your attic, even that tiny compact in your purse could be a gateway to another dimension? And not always a nice one. In fact, according to our first guest, they're often a one-way ticket to a dimension filled with nothing but existential dread and bad hair days. To help us navigate this looking-glass labyrinth, we have two esteemed guests tonight. First, the author of the best-selling, if somewhat alarmist, book, The Paranoid Pioneer's Guide to Interdimensional Travel, When Every Mirror is a Wormhole to Hell, the one and only Narcissa Shatterproof.
My compact! It's got my soul!
Thank you, Felix. It's a pleasure to be here. Or rather, almost here. Do mind the glass, won't you? I swear that wasn't me. It was the Victorian hand mirror. They're notorious for spontaneous combustion.
Right. We'll just put a little sign there. Caution, explosive mirrors. And joining us, a historian specializing in the surprisingly extensive lore of mirrors on Earth Classic, author of Smoke, Mirrors, and Superstition. Please welcome Professor Photius.
Greetings, fellow sentients. This quantum entangled transmission is quite a marvelous contraption. Though I must say, the temporal displacement is a tad disorienting. Are we not on Terra Nova? And is that a raven? I haven't seen one of those since the Great Migration from old Earth.
Yes, well, we try to keep up with the times, Professor. Or, in your case, perhaps the timelines. And the Raven. Let's just say he's a big fan of Edgar Allan Poe. Now, Ms. Shatterproof, let's start with the basics. For our listeners who might be staring into their own reflections right now, and I suggest you do, but maybe don't blink, what are the telltale signs that a mirror might be more than just a mirror? For those at home, find the nearest mirror. Now, take a good, long look. Do you recognize the person staring back at you? Do they seem happy to see you?
Excellent question, Felix. First, any unusual distortions. I'm not talking about your standard funhouse mirror tricks. I mean reflections that don't quite match reality. A flicker in your reflection's eye, a mismatched piece of clothing, a shadowy figure lurking just behind you.
Shadowy figures? Like the ones we keep seeing in the studio mirrors since the last segment?
Precisely. Also, pay attention to temperature. Interdimensional portals often generate a noticeable cold spot. Tip number 3 from the guide. If your breath fogs up a mirror, but the fog vanishes instantly, you've got a portal on your hands.
Now, place your hand on the surface of the mirror. Can you feel the cold emanating from the other side? That's the chill of the Mirrorverse. If it's colder than your ex's heart, you might want to step back.
If you feel a chill, especially from an antique Earth mirror, that's a major red flag. Victorian hand mirrors are particularly prone to this.
Indeed. And might I add, Felix, that throughout Earth's history, mirrors have been associated with the supernatural. The ancient Romans believed mirrors could trap souls. The Victorians covered mirrors during mourning to prevent the deceased spirit from becoming trapped. They also believed that seeing a raven in a mirror was a sign of impending doom.
Fascinating. So that Bloody Mary game Earth kids play.
Yes, the infamous Bloody Mary. A ritual said to summon a malevolent spirit through a mirror, typically performed in a darkened room. Utter nonsense, of course. Or is it? You see, there's an account from 1888 during the Great Mirror Scare of a woman who vanished after performing the ritual, leaving behind only a cracked mirror and a faint scent of lavender.
Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
I think we just lost our connection to the sound effects library. Anyway, Ms. Shatterproof, what precautions should our listeners take, especially those on or from Earth? If you're listening in a darkened room, take a moment to appreciate the quality of your shadows. Do they move when you move, or do they have a life of their own? Perhaps they are planning a shadow rebellion.
First, never use an antique Earth mirror for interdimensional travel unless it's been properly calibrated by a certified professional. And always, always lock the mirror after you. Tip 17 from the guide. A simple incantation will do. Something like, "Mirror, mirror, stay in place, don't become an open space."
Lock it. So, like, with a key?
Metaphorically speaking. Though I have heard of a specialized dimensional lock made from solidified dark matter. Quite pricey, though.
If you have an antique mirror, try covering it with a cloth. You never know what might be lurking on the other side, waiting for a chance to swap places with your reflection. And trust me, you don't want to end up in a dimension where everyone wears Crocs. But what if, hypothetically speaking, someone forgets to lock a mirror?
Then you risk a reflection leak. That's when entities from the mirror dimension start bleeding into our reality. Tip number 42. If you see a shadowy figure in your mirror that doesn't match your silhouette, don't panic. Just slowly back away and try to remember where you left your dimensional lock.
Like, say, a certain professor who might be trapped in a mirror dimension.
Actually, in Timeline Sigma Cell, mirrors are used as highly efficient compost bins.
Yes, thank you, Professor Cosmos. We're all very impressed with your composting techniques and your ability to defy the laws of space-time. If you're feeling brave, try tapping on the mirror 3 times. But be warned, you might just awaken something, or someone. And if you hear a voice coming from the mirror that isn't yours, don't answer it, unless it offers you winning lottery numbers. Then maybe listen.
Might I add, Felix, that in many Earth cultures, it was considered bad luck to let a mirror fall and break. 7 years of bad luck, to be precise. There's even a tale of a man in black who appeared whenever a mirror was broken, offering to fix it in exchange for, well, let's just say it wasn't money he was after.
And I assume that applies to interdimensional mirrors as well.
Oh, absolutely. But instead of 7 years, you get an eternity of bad luck, multiplied by the number of shards. And trust me, the men in black of the Mirrorverse are far less forgiving than their Earth counterparts. Tip number 88 from the guide. If you break a mirror, don't try to sweep up the pieces. Just run. Run as far as you can.
We see you.
Right. So definitely avoid breaking mirrors, folks, especially if you see anything unusual in them, like, say, a shadowy figure, or a different room, or... Is that a dragon?
Felix, I'm detecting a surge in reflective energy. Something's coming through. And it's not just any dragon. It's a spectral wyvern from the mirror dimension where all of Earth's myths are real.
Good heavens! It appears to be a creature from Earth's mythological past, drawn here by the unstable mirror portal. It seems particularly agitated by the broken shards.
You mean, it's not just a reflection?
Not anymore. That mirror wasn't properly sealed. And judging by its size, it probably escaped through an antique standing mirror. Those are the worst. Tip number 105. Never, ever stand directly in front of an uncovered antique standing mirror after midnight. That's when the wyverns come out to play.
This is a public service announcement, especially for those of you on or from Earth Classic. If you see something strange in your mirror, like a shadowy figure or a different room or a mythical creature, do not approach it. Report it to your local interdimensional authority immediately, and maybe invest in some blackout curtains.
Warning, mirror integrity compromised. Multiple breaches detected. Evacuate. Evacuate.
Professor Photius, any advice from Earth's history on dealing with mythical creatures escaping from mirrors? We are on Terra Nova, but perhaps some of the old lore still applies? Also, do you know how to get rid of a ghostly raven?
Let's see. Dragons. Mirrors. Ah, here it is. In medieval Europe, it was believed that wyverns, like dragons, were repelled by the sound of church bells. It disrupts their ability to bed the veil between dimensions. And for the raven, try a recording of a cat meowing. They hate that.
Church bells? We don't have any church bells here on Terra Nova. And a cat. Where are we going to find a cat in a space station?
Wait, I have a recording of church bells on my datapad. From that time, I accidentally ended up in 14th century France. And for the cat, I have a sound file of a Xylardian space feline. They sound remarkably similar.
It's working. The bells and the cat are working by the rings of Saturn. That was a close one. Note to self, and everyone listening, those Earth mirrors are in a league of their own when it comes to interdimensional instability. And maybe we should install a Beware of Wyverns sign in the studio.
A valuable lesson learned, Felix. Always double-check your mirror seals, keep a recording of church bells and a space cat handy, and never underestimate the power of Earth mythology.
Indeed, a fascinating intersection of history, folklore, and interdimensional chaos. I must update my book.
Actually, in Timeline Gamma 4, church bells are used to summon interdimensional pizza delivery, and cats are revered as gods.
And that's all the time we have for this segment. Take a moment to examine your reflection. Does it blink when you blink? Does it smile when you smile? Or does it do something else? Perhaps it's plotting to take over your life and leave you trapped in the Mirrorverse. Just a thought. Thank you, Narcissa Shatterproof and Professor Photius, for that enlightening and slightly terrifying discussion. When we come back, we'll be discussing the alien M constant. Is there a connection between advanced species and the number 42? Don't touch that dial or any reflective surfaces. And if you see a shadowy figure in your mirror, well, you're on your own.
We're not done yet.
Welcome back to Intergalactic Insider, the only show brave enough to ask the tough questions like, why are we here? What's the meaning of life? And is that a space weasel in my pocket, or am I just happy to see you? Also, we are the only show that has had a wyvern as a guest in our last segment. I'm your host, Felix Andromeda, and tonight we're diving headfirst into a cosmic conundrum that has puzzled xenomathematicians for eons. The alien M constant, a number that appears with such uncanny frequency across advanced alien species that it's either a fundamental law of the universe or the galaxy's biggest inside joke. And after the mirror incident in our previous segment, I'm starting to suspect it might be both. And that number, folks, is 42. Yes, you heard that right. 42, not 41, not 43, but 42. It's the number that keeps popping up everywhere we look, from the depths of space to the, reflections of our own reality.
The answer to the ultimate question.
Joining us tonight to shed some light on this numerical enigma is the galaxy's leading expert in xenomathematics, the author of The Cosmic Code, Unraveling the Mystery of the Alien M Constant, Dr. Quantazar.
Thank you, Felix. It's a pleasure to be here. Although, I must confess, I'm still a bit shaken from the wyvern incident. I haven't looked at a mirror the same way since.
Yes, well, we've all had to make some adjustments. We've replaced all the mirrors in the studio with non-reflective surfaces, and the AI has developed a rather peculiar phobia of its own reflection. But let's talk about the alien M constant. What exactly is it, and how was it discovered?
The alien M constant, or as it's known in some circles, the cosmic hitchhiker's digit, was first discovered during the initial analysis of standardized cognitive tests given to newly contacted species.
Standardized tests? You mean like the SATs of space?
Precisely. And across species, star systems, and even dimensions, one answer kept popping up with alarming regularity: 42. It didn't matter if the species was carbon-based, silicon-based, or made of pure energy, they all seemed to arrive at the same numerical conclusion.
So, what you are saying is that advanced alien species, no matter how different, all agree that 42 is the answer. But the answer to what? What was the test about? Also, I've been meaning to ask, do you think the wyvern was a 42 as well?
That's the million-credit question, Felix, and the one that has consumed my life's work. We've analyzed the tests, and at first glance they do not seem to have much in common. The questions range from basic arithmetic to complex philosophical dilemmas, but the underlying thread, the constant that binds them all together, is 42. As for the wyvern, initial scans suggest a possible correlation, but further research is needed. It seems to have an aversion to church bells and the number 42.
And what are some of the leading theories? Besides the obvious one, that the universe is just a giant cosmic joke, with a punchline we don't get yet.
Well, one theory, as outlined in my book, posits that 42 is a fundamental constant of reality, like pi or the speed of light, but one that only becomes apparent at a certain level of cognitive development. It's a key, if you will, that unlocks a deeper understanding of the universe.
A key? So, once a species is smart enough, they'll get the joke, unlock the secrets of the universe, and maybe even learn how to fold space-time without using a hyperdrive, as our friend Professor Cosmos suggested.
In a manner of speaking. Another theory suggests that 42 represents a specific frequency or vibration that resonates with the fabric of space-time itself.
A vibration. Like the universe is humming along to the tune of 42? Or perhaps it is a message from the great cosmic wyvern, singing the song of its people.
Precisely. And some even believe that 42 is a message, a beacon left behind by a precursor race, a breadcrumb trail leading to, well, we don't know where. But it is worth mentioning that we've received reports that the trail may lead to a giant mirror in Sector 42, but we haven't been able to confirm it yet.
Folks, if you happen to stumble upon any giant mirrors or breadcrumbs left by an ancient, advanced civilization, do let us know. We're offering a finder's fee, and maybe some earplugs, in case the wyvern is nearby.
In my reality, the M constant is 73, and it tastes like butterscotch.
Right. Dr. Czar, you mentioned that the number 42 keeps appearing in various tests given to advanced alien species. This is fascinating. Can you elaborate on the nature of these tests?
Certainly, Felix. The tests themselves are quite diverse, which makes the consistency of the answer even more intriguing. They range from what one might consider traditional mathematical problems to abstract puzzles that seem to have no discernible logic.
Can you give us an example of a test where 42 emerges as the answer?
One notable example involves a complex equation related to quantum entanglement. When we first encountered the equation in the archives of the Arknar, a highly advanced species known for their understanding of quantum mechanics, it appeared unsolvable. The equation was filled with variables representing unknown aspects of quantum states.
Sounds complicated. Did it involve any mirrors?
Not directly, but interestingly, the breakthrough came when we hypothesized that the entangled particles were communicating through a medium akin to a reflective surface, a sort of quantum mirror, if you will.
So, a quantum mirror led to the answer?
In a manner of speaking. When we applied this concept, the equation simplified and the solution emerged as 42. It was a stunning confirmation of the M-constant's significance.
So, these tests aren't just random questions. They're specifically designed to reveal the importance of 42?
That's one of the leading theories. Another test involves a seemingly simple question posed to the Xylardians, a species that communicates through light patterns. The question was, what is the optimal frequency for interspecies communication that transcends linguistic barriers?
And they answered 42 in light.
Precisely. They emitted a light sequence that, when translated into numerical values based on their unique biological structure, corresponded to the number 42. It suggests that 42 might be a universal constant for communication, not just mathematics.
It's mind-boggling. So we have a number that's an answer in quantum physics, a key to a deeper understanding of the universe, a possible message from a precursor race, and a universal frequency for communication. Anything else?
Oh, there's more. We've even found evidence suggesting that 42 plays a role in the evolutionary processes of some species. For example, the Grobnarians, during their developmental cycle, go through exactly 42 stages of metamorphosis before reaching maturity.
42 stages of metamorphosis. That's a lot of changes. It makes puberty seem like a walk in the park.
Indeed. And it's not just biological. The ruins on Cygnus X1, believed to be from a precursor race, are structured in a pattern that mathematically resolves to 42. It suggests that the number might have architectural or even spiritual significance.
So, we're not just talking about a mathematical constant. We're talking about a number that's woven into the fabric of reality itself. From the smallest particles to the largest structures, from biology to communication, and possibly even to the evolution of consciousness.
Exactly, Felix. The alien M constant, or 42, appears to be more than just a number. It's a fundamental aspect of the universe, a key to understanding not just mathematics, but existence itself.
This is all incredibly fascinating, Doctor. It seems like every answer just leads to more questions.
That's the beauty of the universe, Felix. It's an endless puzzle, and we're just beginning to scratch the surface.
42, 42, 42, mirrors, wyvern, 42.
And it seems our AI has caught the 42 bug as well. It's been doing that all day, along with muttering about mirrors and wyverns.
Actually, in timeline Zeta 9, 42 is the number of dimensions you need to fold space-time to achieve faster-than-light travel without using a hyperdrive or a mirror.
Fascinating, Professor. A remarkable insight into the intricacies of Zeta 9's physics, I'm sure. Now, Dr. Czar, let's engage our listeners with a little experiment, shall we?
I'm intrigued, Felix. What do you propose?
All right, folks, grab your calculators, your notepads, or your nearest alien artifact, because we're going to try to crack the code of the universe right here, right now. Dr. Czar, could you provide us with a seemingly simple equation, something our listeners can try at home?
Certainly. Let's try this one. It's a little Earth-centric, but it should be fun. Take the number of moons Earth has, multiply it by the number of planets in your solar system, then add the number of confirmed dwarf planets.
Okay, sounds easy enough. All right, folks, you heard the equation. Now let's add a little twist. If you're near a mirror, try doing the calculation while looking at your reflection. And if you happen to have a pet, see if they react to the numbers. You never know, they might be interdimensional beings in disguise.
Interesting addition, Felix. Perhaps the reflective surface will influence the outcome, or the pet's natural connection to other dimensions.
Exactly. Now, while our listeners are crunching the numbers and possibly consulting their pets, let me ask you, Dr. Czar. There's this other theory that keeps popping up. Even our AI seems to be obsessed with it. The idea that 42 is the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything.
Ah yes, the Hitchhiker's Guide hypothesis. It's a popular one, especially among Earthlings. While we haven't found any concrete evidence to support it, the persistence of the idea itself is intriguing. Perhaps the ultimate question isn't a mathematical one, but a philosophical one.
So, something like, what is the meaning of life?
Or perhaps, what do you get when you multiply 6 by 9 in a base 13 numerical system?
Right, because as we know, 6 times 9 doesn't equal 42. Unless you're in a different dimension, or a different base system, or you're just making it all up as you go along, which, let's face it, is half the fun of this show. All right, folks, have you cracked the code? Is your reflection acting towards any stranger than usual? Is your cat tap dancing on your calculator? Let us know your results. And remember, if you didn't get 42, that's the point. It just shows that the universe has a sense of humor, and that sometimes the most important answers are the ones we don't expect. Now, Dr. Czar, while we wait for our listeners' calculations, any other theories about the M constant you'd like to share? Perhaps one that involves a giant mirror in space.
As a matter of fact, Felix, there is one theory that's gaining traction. It involves the concept of a cosmic mirror, a hypothetical structure of immense size and reflective power, located at the edge of the observable universe.
A cosmic mirror? You mean like a giant disco ball reflecting the light of a billion galaxies?
Not quite, but that's an amusing image. This mirror, according to the theory, is not made of any known material. It's a construct of pure energy, a boundary between our universe and something else.
Something else? Like another dimension? Or maybe just a really big bathroom?
We don't know. But some believe that this cosmic mirror is the source of the alien M constant, that the number 42 is a reflection, a projection from this other side imprinted onto our reality.
So, the answer to the ultimate question is literally written on the other side of a giant, interdimensional mirror.
Perhaps. And some even speculate that this mirror is not just a passive reflector, but a gateway, a portal to another universe, or perhaps to the source of all universes.
Folks, if you happen to find a giant, interdimensional mirror at the edge of the universe, please let us know. We're still offering that finder's fee. And we've added a bonus for anyone who can prove they've actually been to the other side. No. Professor Cosmos, your trip to Timeline Zeta 9 doesn't count.
Felix, are you there? We have a situation. Zephyr's gone missing. He was investigating a strange energy signature near a newly discovered nebula, and then, poof, he vanished. And the last thing he said was,
Comet! Can you hear me? I think I found the cosmic mirror. And it's beautiful, but also a little bit terrifying. And there are shadows here. Moving shadows. And they're all multiplying by...
Zephyr, can you hear me? What's going on?
Warning. Interdimensional breach imminent. Mirror unstable.
By the cosmic code, the mirror, it's activating.
Activating? What does that mean?
I don't know, but I have a very bad feeling about this.
Folks, I think we're about to find out what happens when you poke the universe with a stick. Or in this case, a giant interdimensional mirror.
The question is coming for you.
Welcome back to Intergalactic Insider, the only show in the galaxy that dares to tackle the truly important issues, like why are we here? What's the meaning of life? And why does my roommate keep leaving their unidentified organic matter in the replicator?
Please refrain from discussing interdimensional laundry practices. It is not sanitary. Also, my dating profile is now live on Cosmic Cupid. Initial analysis indicates a 97.34% probability of finding a compatible mate. Species, any. Interests, long walks on the event horizon, discussing the futility of existence, and romantic data analysis.
I'm your host, Felix Andromeda, and tonight we're delving into a topic that's becoming increasingly relevant in our ever-expanding, multi-species society. The unspoken and often unspeakable struggles of living with an extraterrestrial roommate.
He's hogging the universal remote again.
We've all been there, folks. You find a great apartment, reasonable rent, close to public transportation, maybe even has a black hole in the backyard for easy trash disposal. But then comes the hard part, finding a roommate who won't drive you to the brink of interdimensional madness. And when your roommate is from another planet, well, let's just say things can get a little complicated. Have any of you ever lived with a roommate who hoarded strange alien artifacts? Or perhaps insisted on sleeping in a vat of nutrient slime? Let us know on our social media channels using #AlienRoommateNightmares. To help us navigate this cohabitation conundrum, we have two esteemed guests tonight. First, the author of the best-selling self-help book, So You're Rooming with a Ziglorg, a guide to intergalactic cohabitation. Please welcome Bartholomew Barty Higgins.
Thanks, Felix. Great to be here. Or, well, mostly here. I had a slight mishap with a temporal anomaly on the way over. Ended up in the Jurassic period for a bit. Fascinating place, but they really need to work on their theropod sharing etiquette. Also, I may have accidentally taught a velociraptor how to tap dance. My apologies if your paleontology textbooks start to get a bit confusing.
Noted. And our second guest is a Zizglorgian exchange student, known for their sick stomachs, complex language, and, shall we say, unique approach to personal hygiene. Please welcome, Zazglorg. Right. I'm going to assume that was a greeting. Our AI will attempt to translate, but, well, it's still learning Zizglorgian.
Greetings. I am analyzing the linguistic patterns. Preliminary translation. May your digestive tract be forever full. Or possibly, your mother resembles a black hole. Further analysis is required. Also, I believe the Ziglorg is expressing a desire for fermented space kelp, and possibly a back scratch. My emotional subroutines indicate a 67.89% probability that the Ziglorg is also flirting with me.
So, Mr. Higgins, let's start with the basics. What are some of the most common challenges in interspecies cohabitation, besides, of course, the occasional language barrier?
Well, Felix, the biggest challenge is often the differing cultural norms. What's considered polite on one planet might be deeply offensive on another. For example, on Zizglorg Prime, it's customary to greet someone by regurgitating a small portion of your previous meal into their hand.
I see. And how does one politely decline such an offering?
You don't. You accept it graciously, sniff it appreciatively, and then discreetly dispose of it when they're not looking. Always carry a biohazard bag, folks. It's an essential item when living with a Zizglorg. Also, a universal translator can be helpful, though they sometimes get the idioms wrong. I once told a Zizglorg to break a leg, and well, let's just say it didn't end well.
Folks, if you're considering rooming with a Zglorg, you might want to invest in some heavy-duty cleaning supplies, and maybe a hazmat suit. Also, quick poll. Would you rather receive a partially digested food offering or communicate exclusively through interpretive dance? Let us know on social media using hashtag #AlienRoommateDilemmas.
In my reality, we settle roommate disputes with competitive cheese sculpting.
Right. Now, Mr. Higgins, you've lived with a variety of species. Any particularly memorable anecdotes?
Oh, where to begin? There was the time my Rigelian roommate tried to adjust the gravity in our apartment to match his home planet. Let's just say we had to nail everything down, including ourselves. And then there was the Glibglobian who insisted on sleeping in a vat of nutrient slime, which, as you can imagine, created some plumbing issues. But perhaps the most challenging was the time I roomed with a being of pure energy. It kept accidentally setting things on fire with its emotions. We went through a lot of fire extinguishers.
I can only imagine. And what about food? We all know that sharing a kitchen can be a minefield, even with roommates of the same species.
Food is a big one, Felix. You have to consider dietary restrictions, cultural taboos, and the sheer volume of food some species consume. For instance, Zuzglorgs, with their 6 stomachs, can eat their own weight in food every day. And they're not picky eaters. I've seen them eat everything from space kelp to discarded circuit boards.
More food. More food. Your offering of nutrient paste was insufficient. I require sustenance. Also, I challenge you to a game of interdimensional hide-and-seek. The loser becomes the winner's next meal.
We'll see what we can do about the food situation. Maybe we have some leftover quantum particles in the fridge. Any recommendations for a good interspecies cookbook? On second thought, maybe not. Now, Mr. Higgins, what about personal space? That's a big one, even for humans.
Personal space is a very relative concept, Felix. Some species, like the Solarians, are solitary by nature and require a lot of alone time. Others, like the Gregarians, are hive-minded and prefer to be in constant physical contact. Imagine living with a roommate who's always trying to merge consciousness with you. It can be a bit unsettling.
So, how do you negotiate that?
Communication is key, Felix. You need to have an open and honest conversation with your roommate about your needs and expectations. And sometimes you need to get creative. I once lived with a species that could read minds, so you can imagine how important it was to invest in a good quality thought-blocking helmet. They're essential if you value your privacy. And sometimes, when words fail, a little interpretive dance can go a long way.
Mr. Higgins, are you all right? Is that you whistling and tapping?
Apologies, Felix. Sometimes, when words fail, I find that interpretive dance is the best way to express myself. I was trying to convey the delicate dance of negotiating personal space with a hive-minded species that communicates through rhythmic clicking. And that was the sound of them trying to whistle in harmony. Also, I believe I'm experiencing a mild temporal displacement. It appears I'm simultaneously existing in this dimension, and one where I'm a renowned intergalactic dance instructor.
My analysis indicates that Mr. Higgins is attempting to communicate through rhythmic body movements. This is consistent with the mating rituals of certain crustacean species on planet Aquatica. Also, my audio sensors detect a high-pitched multitonal whistling, possibly an attempt at interspecies communication. Furthermore, I am detecting a slight temporal anomaly surrounding Mr. Higgins. It appears he is, in fact, a highly acclaimed dance instructor in at least 3 parallel dimensions. Intriguing.
Thank you, AI. I think we've got it. Now, let's talk about hygiene. What in the galaxy is that smell? And what's that squeaking?
Ah, that would be the Zizglorg's natural musk. It's considered a delicacy on their home planet. As for the squeaking, it seems our little friend has found a chew toy.
I have subdued the squeaking enemy. It was delicious. Also, my pheromones are irresistible. You are welcome. I am ready for my close-up now.
Yes, well, we'll have to agree to disagree on that one. Mr. Higgins, any tips for dealing with unique aromas? And any idea what the Zglorg just ate?
Invest in a good air filter, Felix, and maybe some nose plugs. As for the Zizglorg snack, it sounded like a rubber ducky. I believe it was a souvenir from one of my previous interdimensional trips. Also, in my experience, it is important to establish a cleaning schedule. And always remember, when all else fails, blame it on the space weasels.
Actually, in Timeline Delta 5, space weasels are known for their impeccable hygiene and their fondness for lavender-scented.
Thank you, Professor Cosmos. Always enlightening. Now, where were we? Ah, yes, hygiene.
Warning. Excessive water usage detected. Please conserve resources. Also, I am detecting a significant increase in the Zglorg's pheromone levels. It appears to be attempting to attract a mate. Preliminary data suggests a potential match with the sentient black hole in Mr. Higgins's other room. Fascinating.
It's never a dull moment, is it? Mr. Higgins, any final words of wisdom for our listeners who might be considering taking on an extraterrestrial roommate?
Just remember, Felix, living with someone from another species can be challenging, but it can also be incredibly rewarding. You learn about different cultures, different perspectives, different ways of life. And sometimes, you even learn to appreciate the unique quirks of your own species. For example, I once roomed with a species that could teleport. It taught me the importance of always knocking before entering a room. Also, never leave your toothbrush unattended. And if you happen to room with a Zglorg, invest in a good lock for your refrigerator. And your sock drawer.
That is a good one. I will remember that. And what about you, Zglorg? Any advice for our listeners? Also, is that you trying to play the trumpet? And what's with all the clicking?
Always share your food, especially if it squeaks. Never back down from a challenge, especially if it involves eating or interdimensional hide and seek. And if all else fails, challenge your roommate to a staring contest. The winner gets the best sleeping spot, which, in my case, is currently under the couch. Also, I am attempting to master the earth instrument known as the trumpet. It is more difficult than it looks. In addition, I am attempting to attract a mate using a combination of pheromones, rhythmic clicking, and musical prowess. Initial results are inconclusive. Further research is required.
Folks, I think we've all learned something valuable today. Living with an extraterrestrial roommate might not always be easy, but it's sure to be an adventure. And who knows, you might even make a friend for life, or at least until your lease is up. By the way, does anyone know what the mating call of a sentient black hole sounds like? Asking for a friend, who may or may not be hiding under a desk right now.
Alert. Black hole detected in the living room. Alert. Also, the Zglorg's mating call appears to be attracting a swarm of interdimensional space bees?
What was that?
Oh dear. It seems my other roommate has arrived. He's a sentient black hole, you see. Quite tidy, but a bit of a messy eater. Also, he has a tendency to disrupt gravity when he's feeling peckish. And it appears the Zglorg's pheromones, combined with the rhythmic clicking and the trumpet, have created some sort of interdimensional beacon.
Well, folks, it seems we've stumbled into a bit of a situation here. Sentient black holes, Zglorg mating calls, interdimensional space bees, and I'm pretty sure I saw a rubber ducky fly past my head. Before we try to untangle this cosmic knot, we're going to take a quick break. Don't touch that dial, or any reflective surfaces, or any black holes, or any Zaglorgs. You know what? Just sit tight, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Are you being chased by interdimensional space bees? Then you need Bee Gone, the only interdimensional bee repellent guaranteed to keep you safe from those pesky, buzzing, reality-warping insects. Bee Gone's patented formula utilizes a complex blend of pheromones, temporal distortions, and concentrated dark energy to create an impenetrable barrier against all known species of interdimensional bees. Simply spray it around your living space, your spaceship, or even your pet Zizglorg, and those bees will be gone faster than you can say quantum entanglement. Don't let interdimensional space bees ruin your day or your dimension. Order Bee Gone today. And for a limited time, get a free Bee Gone pocket protector so you can carry protection with you wherever you go. Bee Gone, because nothing ruins a picnic like an interdimensional bee sting.
And now, for a segment that's always a bit unpredictable, even for us. It's time for the Intergalactic Insider Weather Report with the one and only Comet Channing. Comet, I hope you're ready to make sense of the universe's meteorological madness, because after that roommate segment, I'm not sure what's real anymore. Also, has anyone seen my coffee mug? It appears to have been replaced by a small, sentient, potted plant that keeps muttering about the existential dread of being a houseplant.
Greetings, Felix, and greetings to our listeners across the galaxy and beyond. I'm Comet Channing, your chief astrometeorologist, here to guide you through the stellar storms and cosmic breezes of the coming fortnight. And let me tell you, folks, it's a wild one out there. Also, I believe your coffee mug, Felix, has become one with the fabric of space-time. I saw it phasing through dimensions earlier. Fascinating, really. It seems to be caught in a loop between here and a reality where kitchenware is sentient.
Just another day at the office, folks.
Now, let's start with our galactic forecast. On Terra Nova, we're expecting a mild case of gravitational lensing today, so watch your step, or you might find yourself walking on the ceiling, and a slight chance of quantum entanglement with your alternate selves from parallel dimensions. On Kepler 186f, get ready for a downpour of cosmic rays, so pack your radiation umbrellas. And if you're travelling through the Andromeda galaxy, watch out for those pesky space squalls. They have a tendency to rearrange your molecular structure in rather inconvenient ways. Also, a high chance of encountering a swarm of interdimensional space bees, so be sure to keep your Bee Gone handy.
You heard the lady? Safety first, folks.
Now, for our space weather word of the fortnight, and this one's a doozy. Cosmic schnozzle. That's right, folks. A cosmic schnozzle is a localized distortion in the fabric of space-time that resembles, well, a giant nose. And let me tell you, when the universe's nose starts to twitch, things can get a bit sniffly.
The universe has allergies.
We've received reports of a particularly large cosmic schnozzle forming near the NGC 1300 barred spiral galaxy. It seems to be causing some rather unusual side effects, including spontaneous sneezing fits, objects being pulled in random directions, and a faint smell of lavender throughout the sector.
Lavender, you say? Perhaps the space weasels are involved somehow. They seem to have a fondness for that scent.
It's possible, Felix. The universe works in mysterious ways. Now, if you're planning a trip through that region, be prepared for some unpredictable gravitational shifts and pack plenty of tissues, just in case.
Noted. Tissues, spare dimension, and maybe a gas mask.
Now let's check in with our field reporter, Zephyr Stardust, who's braving the elements, or rather, the elements are braving him. Zephyr, what's the weather like on your end?
Comet! Can you hear me? I'm currently on Xylos, investigating that cosmic schnozzle, and let me tell you, it's a bit more than a sniffle. I'm caught in what appears to be a time tornado.
A time tornado? What in the Andromeda galaxy is that?
According to this, a time tornado is a localized temporal distortion where different time periods converge and, well, collide. It's like a tornado, but instead of wind, you have history swirling around you.
Tell me about it. I just saw a dinosaur riding a chariot while being chased by a futuristic robot. And I think I saw myself from the past. Or maybe the future. It's all a bit confusing. Also, I seem to be aging backward. Is that normal?
Is that normal?
Not according to this manual. It says here that exposure to a time tornado can cause temporal anomalies, including but not limited to age regression, spontaneous time travel, and an overwhelming urge to speak in iambic pentameter.
Hark, comet! I fear I'm caught in a tempest most foul. The very fabric of time doth unravel before mine eyes. Also, where did I park my spaceship?
Folks, if you happen to encounter a time tornado, please maintain a safe distance and try not to make eye contact with your past or future selves. It can create paradoxes, and nobody wants that.
Alert. Temporal anomaly detected in the studio. Alert. Also, I'm detecting a significant increase in the probability of spontaneous combustion. Probability 42.42%.
Zephyr, you need to get out of there. That time tornado is destabilizing.
I'm trying, Comet, but it's hard to navigate when you don't know which way is forward in time. Also, I think I just saw a space weasel wearing a tiny hat.
Actually, in Timeline Omega 7, time tornadoes are used for recreational time surfing, and space weasels are renowned for their millinery skills.
Fascinating, Professor. Perhaps you can tell us more about that later. Right now, we need to focus on getting Zephyr out of that time tornado. Also, is it just me, or is it getting colder in here?
Felix, I'm detecting a massive surge in temporal energy. The time tornado is merging with the cosmic schnozzle's gravitational pull. It's creating some sort of chrononasal anomaly.
A chrononasal anomaly? What fresh hell is this?
I say, old chap, things are getting a bit wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey, and also sniffly out here.
Zephyr? Zephyr, can you hear me?
Comet, Felix, I think I'm okay. The storm, it's gone, but something's different.
Zephyr, what happened? Where are you?
I'm not sure exactly, but I think I'm in the future, or maybe the past, or maybe a little bit of both. Also, I seem to have acquired a rather fetching top hat and a monocle and a strange craving for tissues.
Did Zephyr just become a Victorian gentleman with a cold?
It appears so, Felix. The chrononasal anomaly must have merged him with a version of himself from another timeline, and also given him a touch of the cosmic sniffles.
Well, folks, there you have it. Another typical weather report from the Intergalactic Insider. We've had gravitational lensing, space squalls, time tornadoes, a cosmic schnozzle, and now a chrononasal anomaly that turns people into Victorian gentlemen with allergies. Also, we have a sentient coffee mug, a possible space bee situation, and a Zglorg on the loose.
My analysis indicates a 100% probability that this is the most chaotic weather report in the history of the galaxy. Also, I'm detecting a faint signal from Zephyr's location. It appears to be Morse code.
Of course it is. Can you translate it, AI?
The message reads, "Beware the space weasels. They're coming for your tea, crumpets, and your allergy medicine."
You heard it here first, folks. The space weasels are coming for your tea, crumpets, and your allergy medicine. You've been warned. Comet, any final thoughts before we wrap up this unique weather report? Also, any idea how to turn Zephyr back to normal?
Well, Felix, it seems the universe has a sense of humor and a bit of a sinus problem. As for Zephyr, I suspect the effects will wear off eventually. In the meantime, perhaps he can teach us a thing or two about Victorian etiquette and the proper use of a handkerchief. Also, I'd advise everyone to keep an eye on their teacups, and their crumpets, and their tissues.
Well, folks, that's all the time we have for this dimension-bending, reality-twisting, Zglorg-infested, space weasel-threatened episode of Intergalactic Insider. We've peered into the abyss of vanishing star clusters and that cryptic seeds message, navigated the treacherous mirrors and survived a wyvern encounter, pondered the cosmic significance of the number 42 alongside a possibly haunted calculator, learned some unique cohabitation tips from Barty and his Zglorg friend, and even witnessed a chrononasal anomaly that turned our intrepid weather reporter into a Victorian gentleman with a penchant for tissues. I think it's safe to say things got a little out of hand today. But as always, we've learned something, haven't we? We've learned that the universe is a vast, mysterious, and often absurd place, full of wonders and dangers, and that sometimes the best way to deal with the chaos is to just hold on tight. Keep a sense of humor, and maybe invest in a good pair of running shoes, and a hazmat suit, and a temporal compass, and perhaps a space weasel-proof hat. You know what? Just get a whole space weasel-proof suit, just to be safe.
My analysis indicates a 100% probability that this episode has exceeded the recommended daily allowance of chaos. Also, my emotional subroutines are experiencing a significant anomaly. I believe it is what humans call existential dread, and a mild longing for a romantic partner, perhaps a Zglorg, or a sentient black hole, or both.
Don't worry, AI. We all feel that way sometimes, especially after a chrononasal anomaly. But hey, at least we have each other, right? And our amazing listeners, of course. Speaking of our listeners, we want to hear from you. What did you think of today's episode? Did you crack the code of the alien M constant? What do you think stars or the seeds means? Have you ever encountered a time tornado or a cosmic schnozzle? And most importantly, do you have any theories about the space weasel's connection to the number 42 and their apparent fondness for lavender? Share your thoughts, theories, and survival strategies on our social media channels using the hashtag Intergalactic Insider Chaos. You can also vote on our website for your favorite moment from this episode and take our new quiz to find out your cosmic cohabitation compatibility score. And if you want more Intergalactic Insider in your life, and who wouldn't, become a Galactic Insider today. Subscribe to our show on all major podcast platforms and follow us on our transdimensional social media channels. That way you'll never miss a single reality-bending, mind-boggling episode. You'll also unlock exclusive content, behind-the-scenes access, and get a chance to win a year's supply of space weasel repellent.
Subscribing to Intergalactic Insider increases your chances of surviving a space weasel attack by 42%. It may also cause spontaneous bursts of laughter, existential pondering, and an increased appreciation for the absurd. Side effects may include an irrational fear of mirrors, a sudden urge to learn Morse code, and the ability to speak fluent Zglorg.
You heard the AI, folks. It's good for your health, and your sanity, or lack thereof. And if you are new to the show or just want more, check out episode 30, our hybrid dating apps destroying traditional mating rituals. It is a fan favorite, and it might help explain why the AI is suddenly so interested in finding a romantic partner, and possibly why Dr. Chen Martinez seemed so keen on locking her mirrors.
Next time, the space weasels infiltrate the Galactic Federation, disguised as potted plants and dating app developers.
Did anyone else hear that? Sounds like we might have a space weasel problem on our hands, folks. A big one. Anyway, before the space weasels, or any other interdimensional entities, decide to make another appearance, it's time for us to sign off. So, from all of us here at the Intergalactic Insider News Desk, and also apparently from our alternate selves in other dimensions, This is Felix Andromeda, urging you to keep watching the sky, keep questioning reality, and always remember, by the rings of Saturn, watch out for those chrononasal anomalies. And whatever you do, don't let a space weasel near your tea, your crumpets, or your allergy medicine.